What up everyone, Mackenzie here. This is week 12. We made it to the end of my 12 and 12 challenge. So 3 months ago, I set out to learn Ruby on Rails once and for all, and I think I have achieved that goal. Obviously, there's still a ton I need to learn about Rails, but I am well on my way. So for this very last project, I decided to build something that 3 months ago I had no idea how to build. It's a project that I designed quite a while ago, but it just sat on my desktop because one, I didn't have money to pay a developer to build it for me, and two, I didn't have the expertise to build it myself. So now that I do, I went ahead and built it. It's a project called Muse, so a user can sign up and share what is inspiring them. They can add a post, and a post has an image, a title, description, and a link to see more about where they found that artwork. And then people can like the post or dislike, and then comment on each post. So let's dive in. I'll give you an overview of what the app looks like and how it functions, and we will dive in and start coding. All right, guys, let's begin. Cool, guys, so let me show you what we are going to be building today. So this is a project that I designed forever ago, so I thought it was only fitting that I built this for my final project in my 12 and 12 challenge. So what this is a project I call Muse. Muse, by definition, is an artist's source of inspiration. So I wanted to create a site where people could sign up and share what is inspiring them from other artists or stuff they are working on themselves. So what we have is on the root of the application, all of the posts. Then if you click on a post, you have the actual post, a link to see more from that artist, and then we have comments and a random post to get people to click around through the site a lot more. And then we have the amount of likes, dislikes, comments, all that good stuff. One thing I did not do, though, is style the forms, simply because I ran out of time this week. So the app is functional, but and it looks pretty good except for the forms. That's the one thing I didn't get to. But other than that, it's pretty awesome in my opinion. So let's start, and I will show you how we go about building this thing. So let me pull up my terminal, and I will bump up the size a bit for you guys. All right. So what I'm going to do is, in the first tab, I'm just going to cd into my 12 and 12 challenge directory. Then from here, I'm going to create our new application by doing Rails new, and I'm going to call this Muse. All right, and now that that is done creating, let's cd into the Muse app. And let's initialize this in Git by doing git init. All right, now that that is done, let's do a git status. You can see all the untracked files. Let's do git add dot to add those. And if you do another git s, you can see all the files added to, or all the files that are about to be committed. So let's do git commit -am with the message, I'll just say first commit. All right, so now we are good. So let's think about our application. Let me bring that back over for you guys to see. So we have users. So we want the ability to have a user be able to sign in, sign out. The user should be able to create a post. And then the post has comments, images, and voting on it as well. So let's start with the ability to create a post. So I'm going to first generate a post model. Actually, before we do that, let me jump over here. I'm going to cd into my 12 and 12 and into Muse, and I'm going to run the Rails server. Then let me pull up localhost port 3000 again and bump it up so you guys can see. Welcome aboard writing Ruby on Rails. So everything did install correctly. All right, so now back in our terminal, I'm going to generate a model for our post. So I'm going to do Rails generate model, and the name of the model is going to be post. And for the post, we're going to have a title, which is going to be a string, a link to the artwork or the website where they found the artwork at. So that's going to be a string as well. And then the description is going to be text. And then we're also going to have a user, obviously, and a image, but we are going to implement those later on. So for now, we're doing Rails generate model post, title, string, link, string, and description as text. All right, so let's do that. And then once that's done, let's do a rake db :migrate. And that creates the post table for us. Beautiful. All right, so let's go ahead and open this project up in Sublime Text by doing Sublime dot. Let me make this full screen for you guys, and I'll bump up the size quite a bit. All right. So you can see if you go under App Models, create the post model for us. Then under DB Migrate, you can see the migration. It creates the table posts with the attributes of title, link, and description. Beautiful. All right, so next what we need to do is create or generate our controller. So let's do Rails generate controller, and this is going to be post controller. So we're going to do Rails generate controller posts. All right, and if you want to open that up in Sublime, let's search for post controller. So first thing we need to do before we start filling in our post controller, let's open up our routes file and add some routes for our posts. So I'm gonna first remove all the unnecessary comments. So I'm going to do resources and then posts to add the routes for our posts. And I'm also going to make the root of the application go to the post controller index action. All right, so now if you go back to localhost and refresh, you'll get a error, unknown action index. So let's define what that is. So inside of the post controller, let's do def index end. Then if you go back and refresh, we'll get a new error. Template is missing. Very cool. So before we create that template, let's do a git s to see our changes. Let's do git add dot to add all those. Okay, now let's commit those by doing git commit -am with the message generated controller or generated post model and controller and added routes. All right, so next thing we want to do is create those that missing template. But before I do that, I'm going to add some gems to our gem file. So first, let me clean this up real quick. All right, now let's go to rubygems.org. Oh, and if you haven't seen it lately, they update their design. It looks much, much better. So let's install the Haml gems to replace the ERB view files. So let's copy the latest, which is 4.0.5. So let's grab that, go to your gem file, add that to the bottom. So a few other gems we're going to be using for our application is simple form for our forms. So let's copy the latest from there. Devise for our users. And paperclip for the image upload. And I believe that is it. So for a few of these, actually I believe these three, we need to do a few configurations for this, but for now, just add those and then go back to your terminal, run bundle install. Then once that is done, restart your server by hitting Control C and the up arrow. And now let's go back to our application, and we need to create the missing template. So let's go under app views, posts, and create a new file. Save this as index.html.haml. And for now, I'm just going to put an H1, say this is the placeholder. I'm going to do a little winky face, you know what I'm saying. All right, refresh that. Cool. So that's working good. And that is because we installed that Haml gem. All right, so we have our post model created, our controller created. So next, let's add the ability to create a post, create, edit, and destroy a post actually. So I'm going to start by doing def new. Actually, let's undo all that. So first, let's do a get status. All right, get add dot get commit dash am add application gems and post view files. All right, so now we're good. So let's start filling in our post controller. So I'm going to create a def show and def new and def create and def edit and def update and def destroy and that's good for now. Let's also create a few private methods, def find post end and a def post params end. All right, so let's fill in what these actually do. So for the def new, let's do at post equals post.new. Then let's copy that, go under create, and we're also gonna do post params. So at post equals post.new with post params. Then we're gonna do if at post dot save. So if the post is able to save to the database, we're going to redirect to the post show page. So at post. Else, we'll go back and render the new file end. All right, and we also need to define what the post params are, is. So we are going to do params.require, and then in parentheses, we're going to do post, and then we're permitting the different attributes. So we're going to permit, I forget what attributes we created. So let's go under our db migrate file. So we need to permit the title, link, and the description. So title, link, and description. All right, so let's save that. Now if we go to /post/new, we get a template is missing error. All right, so let's create that new file. So save a new file as new.html.haml. And for now, let's just put add new inspiration, since this is a artist inspiration site. All right, that's showing up. So next, let's create a partial to handle our form. So let's save this as _form.html.haml. Let's fill in this form. So we're going to do simple _form for, then the form for the post, and we're going to do f. All right, then we also want to create a few different inputs. So we'll do f.input title and f.input link and f.input description. And then we also want a f.button submit. So let's save that and also go back to our new file, and we are going to render that partial inside of the new template. So we're going to do render form. Let's go and refresh. Cool, so the form shows up. So we created our model and our controller. Take a look at that. Post.new, post params, and we are defining what the post params is. So we should be able to create a new post. So let's test it out. So I'm going to say Iron Man mask. by Mackenzie Child. Link, I'll just stub it out. Actually, I'll put it in my http mackenziechild.me. And then I'm going to grab some hipster ipsum, some placeholder text, copy this, and go back and paste that in. All right, so it did save to the database and we were routed to post/1, but we get a template is missing error. So let's create that template. So under post, let's create a new file. Save this as show.html.haml. And for now, let's add an h1 and print out the @post.title. Let's do a p tag, @post.link, and then another one, @post.description. Go back, refresh, undefined method title. And the reason we are getting this error is because we have not defined, well, we're actually not grabbing which post this is inside of our controller. So to do that, under the def show, we are going to do @post equals post.find by params of ID. So if we save that, go back, refresh, it shows up correctly. But we actually want this for the post or the show, edit, update, and destroy methods. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that and put it under the find post method under the private. Then we are going to create a before action for the find post, and we are going to set this to be only on the show, edit, update, and the destroy. So let's save that. So now we are good to go here. So everything's showing up correctly on our view file. Let's next loop through all of our posts on the index. So what I'm going to do is we'll do @post.eachDo and then post. And then for each post, let's do an h2 tag and say post.title. Actually, let's do a link to. So we're going to do link to post.title, and we're going to go to the post. So let's save that, go back. We will get an error when we go back to localhost. All right, and that is because we have not defined what the @posts is inside of our controller. So let's go under the def index, and we'll do @posts equals post.all, and we'll do .order created at descending. Save that, go back and refresh. Beautiful. All right, so now that that is showing up correctly, we can click on that and go to the actual post. Let's create a new post. So I'm going to go to post/new. Let's create another one. I'm just going to say another post. Stub out the link, and for now, let's see. Let's grab the hipster ipsum again, paste that in. All right. So now we should be looping through all of them on the index. Beautiful. One last thing, just to make it easy on myself for the time being, I'm going to go to the index page, and I'm going to add a link to new, let's see, add new inspiration. And then I'm going to go to the new post path, then @post. Save that. Actually, I don't think I need @post on the index. Let's save that, refresh. Okay, so that works good. I'm also going to add one thing to the show page, just a link to home. Link to home, and I'll go to the root path. So now I can click around. Just makes it a little bit easier until we add structure and the styling. All right, so we are able to create a post. Next thing we want to do is add or edit and destroy a post. So let's go back to our controller, and we are already finding the posts for the edit and the update and destroy. So all we need to do is for the def update, we'll do if at post.update with the post params. We will do, we'll redirect to at post, else render the edit form, end. And then for the destroy, we're already finding the post we want to destroy. So we'll do at post dot destroy. And then let's redirect to the root path. All right, let's save that. And, well, we actually can't do anything yet because we need to add some links to our show page. So above here, let's do a link to edit, and we go to the edit, post path, at post, and then we also do a link to destroy, and we'll do post path, at post, but we will do this as method of delete, and then data, confirm, are you sure? Of course we are sure. All right, so let's refresh that. Let's try to edit it. Template is missing, but you can see in the URL, we do go to post/to/edit, which is beautiful. So let's create that edit form. Save a new file under views posts, and we'll do edit.html.yaml. And then all we are going to do here is pretty much the same as a new. So let's copy that, paste that, and I'm just going to say edit inspiration, and then we are rendering the form. Refresh. Cool. So the post shows up with the post params, and then let's just add some text to make sure it updates correctly, which it does. Awesome. Now let's try to destroy it. Are you sure? Of course we are. All right, so that works beautifully. So we have the ability to create a post, edit, and destroy a post. So I think for now we are good to go. Yeah, let's do a git status, git add dot git s. All right, now let's do a git commit with the message. What did we do? We added create, update, destroy ability for posts. All right. So next, what we want to do is add users to our application. So I'm going to close out of these. So let's go to paperclip and search for devise. Then let's go to the devise documentation, so the GitHub page. What we need to do is, under the getting started section, we already added the devise gem and ran bundle install. So let's run the devise generator. So it's Rails generate devise :install. So let's hit enter, and then that creates a few files for us and spits out a list of things we need to do if we haven't already done them. So first one, ensure you have defined a URL option in your environments file. So let's do that. Let's copy this and let's go to config environments development.rb. Then at the bottom, let's just add that line in and save it. Then in production, host should be set to the actual host of your application. We're not actually deploying this app to production, so we are good for now. Ensure you have defined a root URL. We have, we're rooting the post controller index action. All right, ensure you have flash messages in your app views application.html.erb. Let's do that. Copy these and go to app views, layouts, application.html.erb, paste those in. We will be changing this to Haml, but for now, let's just keep it as is. Step 4, if you are deploying to Heroku with Rails 3.2 only, which we are not, so I'm going to skip that. And then the step 5, you can copy the device views for customization, which we are going to not do for this application. But you guys are more than welcome to do that and style to your heart's content. So we are good for that. Let's go back to the documentation. Next thing we need to do is generate a devise model. So let's do that. Let's do Rails generate devise and its model. So instead of model, we are going to do devise user. So we are generating a user model. Right, if you want to take a look at what that creates for us, you can go under DB, migrate, and the latest migration creates the users table with all this awesome stuff. And all of this is customizable. So if you want any of this, like confirmable, trackable, all that stuff, you just uncomment these. But for now, we're just going to leave it as is. So let's go back to our terminal, do rake db:/migrate. All right, now that that is created, let's set up the users and make sure that the posts are built from the users. So the first thing we need to do is add or run a migration. So let's go to our terminal, do Rails generate migration, and the migration we are running is add_user ID to posts. So we're adding a user ID column to the post table. And Rails is smart enough to know that from this convention right here. You can also do camel case, so add user ID to just like that. I prefer the I think this is called snake case. I could be wrong on that with the underscores. All right, so add user ID to post, and then the user ID is an integer. All right, so that should be good. Let's double check that. Go to the latest migration file. So it's adding column to the post table, user ID, which is an integer. That looks good to me. So let's do another rake db:/migrate. So next thing we need to do is add an association between our users and our posts. So under Sublime, let's close out of that. Let's go to our models and open up the post model and the user model. So the association we need to add is a post has many, actually no, a post belongs to a user. And then a user has many posts. Then the next thing we need to do is inside of our controller, post controller, we need to tweak the way our posts are created. So instead of post.new, what we're going to do is current_user.post.build. And then let's copy that and replace that for the create method as well, but we're going to leave in the post params. So what this is going to do is make sure the user ID column in the post table is filled in when we create a post. All right, so in addition to that, let's add a before action to our post controller. So we're going to do before action, and this is from devise. We're going to do authenticate user ! And we are going to do except for the index and the show. So what this means is for anything they try to do that a user is not authorized to, they will get redirected to the sign up page. For example, if they try to create a post or create a comment without being signed in, they will get routed to the sign in page, which is the exact functionality we should have. All right, so let's go back. No method error. Oh, let's restart our server. All right, go back, refresh. Cool. So let's go to /users/signup and create a user. So I'm going to use my email, hey@mckinseychild.me. Did I spell that right? .me. Password. I'll just enter password and sign up. Cool. Welcome. You successfully signed up. So now let's go to our Rails terminal. Go back. Let's run Rails C. So I'm going to do @post equals post.last. And you can see this was the Iron Man mask by McKinsey Child that we created, but the user ID column is nil. So when we create a new thing or a new post, since in our post controller we tweaked how it's built, the user ID column should be filled in. So let's test that to make sure it works. I'll do one more post, do my website, and copy some hip strips, paste that in, create post. All right, so now let's go back to our terminal and do the last command just by hitting the up arrow. All right, and you can see one more post, and the user ID column is 1. So that is the first user. So that works beautifully. So while we're in the console, let's do @post equals post.first to grab the first post we created. I'm just going to do @post.user_ID equals 1, and @post.save. That way, when we try to add the username or the user to the show or the index, it won't throw up an error because they now all have posts or all have a user assigned to it. Let's go back to our terminal and commit what we've done. So I'm going to do git status. All right, git add dot git commit with the message. Let's say added and set up device. So one last thing for our users that I want to do is I want to, instead of using the email for when we signed up, so if we go to /users/signup, we're already signed in. So let's do incognito /users/signup. All right, so you can see the email field is set up. I want to also add a name field so that we are able to do user.name for our view files. So there's a couple steps to do that. First is we need to run a migration. So we're going to do Rails generate migration, and we're going to add name to user. And then the name is going to be a string. So let's hit enter, and then I'm going to do rake db migrate to add that to our database. Then inside of our views, oh, you know what? We need to copy over the device views. So I'm going to do, Rails generate device views. I think that's the command. Let's try running that. Cool. Yeah, so that creates all of the device views, copies that into our view files. So what we need to do is add a name field to our signup form. So let's go to registration/new, and I'm just going to copy this first one, the input email, and above that, let's change this to name, required true, autofocus. Yeah, I'll keep that, but remove it. I believe it can only be done for one, so let's remove it from the email. So let's save that and also go to the edit and do the same thing. Name, and remove the autofocus true from the email. Whoops, did too much. Autofocus true, save that. And one last one for the sign in page. Actually, we don't need to do it for the sign in. We can just sign in with the email and password. All right. So, but for the edit and the new registrations, we should have a sign up form. So let's refresh. Now we do have a name. Beautiful. But a few other things for this to work is, one, we need to add something to our application controller. All right, so let's open up the application controller, and then below that, I'm going to paste in a line from devise. Let's tab this over. So this is adding a before filter, configure params. So what this is doing is adding a parameter to the signup, which is the name, and the account update name as well. So let's save that. I believe that's all we need to do. So I'm going to, let's close out of incognito. Let's go to /user/edit. All right, so the name field is showing up. Let's add my name, Mackenzie. And then I also need to add my current password and update. So it should stay there if we go back to user/edit. Cool, so that is working correctly. So now when we do, let's go to our show page. So I'm going to go to the show page, and I'm going to do one more p tag at post.user.name. So let's save that, refresh. There we go. So now my username is showing up. Beautiful. So I'm going to go back to our terminal, git s, git add dot, do another git status, git commit with the message, add name to users. All right, so now that we've added our users, the next thing I want to do is tackle the image uploads. So let's go to Ruby gems, and let's search for the paperclip gem. All right, and go to the home page, which will take you to the GitHub documentation. All right, so the installation, we've already added the gem paperclip. We ran bundle install. So let's go under the quick start section. So for Rails 4, what we need to do is add the has attached file and the validates attachment lines. So I'm just going to copy these. Then I will go to Sublime Text, and we paste these inside of our our class for the image upload. So we're going to go to our post class and go down here, paste that in, and I'm just going to tweak this a bit. Change these to, instead of the hash rocket, to the symbols. Let's see, I'll delete default URL because we're not going to have one in this tutorial. All right, and I'm going to change avatar. So we're not going to use avatar. We are going to use image instead. So we're going to change avatar to image, and then let's tweak this one as well. All right, and the styles, we're going to have two different sizes for this application. We're going to have the medium. I'm going to make that 7 by 500 and put a hashtag to crop it at 700 by 500 pixels. And then the thumb, let's change this to small, and we will do 350 by 250. All right, and save that. Then the next thing we need to do, if you go back to the documentation, we need to run the migration. So we can add a migration ourselves, or it says, or you can use the migration generator by doing Rails generate paperclip user avatar. So let's copy that, go to our terminal, paste that in. So instead of user avatar, we are going to use post and image for the post model and the image upload. Right, and if you want to take a look at that, let's go under DB in the last migration. So it creates a change table for the post table and adds an attachment of images. Cool. So let's go back and run a rake DB migrate. Then the next thing we need to do is go to Sublime, and inside of our form, we need to add the file upload to the form. So under post form partial, let's go and add a f.input, f.input and image. And then we need to also permit this image attribute inside of our controller. So let's go to the post controller and down to the post params. Then let's add the image attribute. So now let's go back to post/new. Just make sure we don't get any errors. So the file upload is showing up. Let's choose the file. See, I already added some images to use for this application, so I'm just going to grab one. Say Dribbble coach icon, and then I'll just make it http dribbble.com, and let's grab some hipster ipsum again. All right, and paste that in. Create post. Beautiful. So we did not get any errors, so that is a good thing. But obviously we want the image to show up inside of our view. So let's go to our show page and add that in. So above everything, I'm just going to add a image tag. And we're going to do the image tag for @post.image.url. And for the show page, we're going to grab the medium image. And if you go back to your post.rb, you can see the styles that we made was medium for 700 by 500. And that is what we are grabbing inside of our show. So let's save that, go back and refresh. Beautiful. So you can see the image is showing up great. Now let's go to our index and let's go back to Sublime and index.html.haml. Inside of here, for each post, we want to add let's do a link to, we'll do image, parentheses, image tag. I believe this is the right syntax. Image tag @post.image.url, and then we'll do small. That should be it. All right, so these now link to the show page. Everything's beautiful. Look at that. So the image uploads are good to go. So let's go back to our terminal, get out of the console, do a git status, git add dot, git s. Now let's do a git add dot, git commit with the message, set up paperclip for image uploading. All right, we're good to go. So let's take a look at our application. We now have posts. We are able to edit or add, edit, and destroy a post. We are able to upload images along with those posts. So the next thing we should do is add comments to our post. So to do that, let's see. Let's generate a comment model. So let's do Rails generate model comment. For each comment, we're going to have the content of the comment, which is going to be text. And we're also going to do post references, and we're also going to do user references. And this is going to add a post, or a comment belongs to a post and belongs to a user. So let's hit that. Let's do rake db migrate. All right, so the next thing we need to do is add associations between our different models. So let's go to Sublime, open up our different models. Let's open up comment.rb. Actually, let me close out of all these files. Close out of that. Okay, so let's open up comment.rb, post.rb, and user.rb. So you can see the comment already belongs to a post and to a user from the references in our model generation. So now we need to add a post has many comments, save that, and a user has many comments. All right, and then the next thing we need to do is add some routes for our comments. So these are going to be nested routes inside of our post because we should not be able to see a comment by itself. It should only be associated with the post. So let's do resources post do, and then we are going to do resources comments, and then end. Save that. All right, so now let's create a controller for our comments. So Rails generate controller comments. All right, and let's open that up in Sublime. Comments controller. All right, so let's see. We need to define a create method for our comment. So what we are going to do is at post, we're going to find the post. We're going to do post.find by params of post ID. And then we are going to grab the comment or create the comment. So we're doing at comment equals comment.create by params of comment and dot permit, and we're permitting the content of the comment. And then we want to assign the user ID and the post ID to the comment. So we're going to do at comment dot user ID equals current user dot ID, and then at comment dot post ID equals at post dot ID. Then we are going to do if at comment dot save. We're going to redirect to the post path at post. If I could type today. Else render new end. All right, and then one last thing, we don't want a user who is not signed in to be able to comment. So we're going to do before action, and we're going to do authenticate user. Whoops, this should actually be colon, and there we go. For action, authenticate user. All right, and then we're finding the post, and then we're creating the comment with the comment params, and then we are assigning the user ID to the current user and the post ID to the post.id. All right, let's save that. Then we should next just need to create the views, and we should be able to should be good to go. So let's close out of these for now. So the only thing we need to do in our comment is create a new file, and this will be form.html.yaml. And let's save that. Then we're going to use simple form for, and then this is going to be a little different since we are creating it from within the post. So we're doing at post and then at post.comment comments.build, and then get out of there and do f. And then we're going to do f.input of content, and let's add a label of reply to thread. Then f.button submit, and let's just add a class for later of button. Okay, so let's save that. Then what we need to do is show our comments inside of our post show page. So let's go here and let's go below this stuff, and let's add the comments. So let's add a comment class or a comment ID div, and then let's add a h2, and let's say comment count class, and then we are going to pluralize at post.comments.count, and then the word we want to pluralize is comment. So what this does is the pluralize is it makes it so anything other than one, it will say comments automatically, and for like one comment, you don't want it to be pluralized. So this is smart enough to take care of all that for you. Then we want to loop through the comments. So let's do at comments dot each do comment, and then for each comment, let's add a comment class. Then let's add a p.username, and we are gonna do comment.user.name, and we can use .name because we added that before. Now let's do another p.username, comment.content. And let's do comment.content. So let's save that. Then below here, we want to render the form. So let's do render comments/form. Save that. Now let's go to our show. Let's see if we get any errors, which we do at comments.each. All right, so this is because we have not defined what the comments are inside of our post controller. So let's go to the post controller. I'm just going to search for it, post controller. All right, so we have to define what that comment is inside of our show. So let's do at comments equals comment.where the post ID is at post. So what this does is instead of looping through all the comments, it finds the comments associated with that post. So the comments.where the post ID, is equal to the current post. So let's save that, go back and refresh. All right, so we get a syntax error. Oh, I can see it right here. The label should actually be like so. And then there's another error, the button. I believe we should not have a comma there. So let's save that. There we go. All right, so now you can see 0 comments and reply to thread. Let's try to create a comment. So I'm going to say, this is my very first comment. Create comment. All right, so you can see now the comments are looping through. It has the username and the comment content. And you can see the comment count is associated. So if I do another comment, create, now it says 2 comments and the comment user and the comment content. Beautiful. Now let's do one thing. Let's add the comment count to the index. So let's go to the index and let's, whoa, not sure how that got out of there, but let's put it back. So let's go to our index.html post/index.html.haml. And then for each post, what we want to do is add the comment count. So let's add, for now, let's just put in a p tag. We'll change it later, but let's do post.comment.count. Save that, go back and refresh. Undefined method comment. Okay. I believe this should actually be comments. Let's go back and refresh. There we go. So you can see the Iron Man mask has 2 comments. The rest have 0. So let's tweak this to be, tab that in, and then let's do 0 comments. There we go. Cool. The comments are good. So let's go back to our terminal, do a git s, git add dot, git s, all right, git commit with the message, add comments to posts. All right. Now, the next thing we want to do is let's add likes or a voting system to our posts. So to do that, we need to use the acts as votable gem. So let's go to rubygems.org and let's search for acts as votable and then grab it. So let's go to the documentation. Click on source code. All right. So we already added it to our gem file and ran bundle install. So the next thing we need to do is create a migration for it. So let's paste that in. So it's Rails generate acts as votable : migration. Let's hit enter. Could not find generator acts as votable. Let's go to, whoops. Let's go to Sublime, open up gem file. Okay, so I was mistaken. We never actually added this to our gem file. So I'm going to grab the latest 0.10.0. Let's go to our gem file on the bottom, paste that in, save it. Then let's go clear that, bundle install. All right, so now let's go back, source code, grab that migration line, and let's paste that in. There we go. One thing, let's restart our server too. Okay, so now let's do rake db migrate. And you can see this adds a table called votes, and it adds the voter ID, voter type, voter scope, all that good stuff. So what we need to do next is we need to add acts as votable to our post model. So let's copy this and go to Sublime, go to our post model. Then up top, I'm just going to add the line acts as votable. So now that that is done, let's create some routes. And this is getting pretty messy, so I'm going to close these out. So now that we have the routes created, what we need to do is resources, posts, do, and then inside of here, we're going to create a member block. And then inside of that member block, we're going to put like to post upvote. And then we are also going to do put dislike to post upvote. All right, so save that. So we've added our resources and our routes. Let's define what the upvote and, whoops, this should be downvote, should be. So let's go into our controller. So post controller. Then let's go under the destroy and do def upvote end and def downvote end. So a f upvote is at post.upvote by current user. And then we want to redirect to back, back. And let's copy that and go to the downvote method. And obviously instead of upvote, we are going to do downvote. And then we're going to redirect back too. We also need to first find the post that we are doing the upvote or downvote on. So let's add that to our before action. So let's do upvote and downvote. So let's save that. Now, all we need to do is add the links to upvote and downvote inside of our show. So let's add a link to, and we're going to do like post path at post, and then method. Actually, you know what? I was actually mistaken. So these, instead of put, I'm going to do get. And then inside of our show, we are going to do a method of get. That should be good. Let's add another one for our downvote. And this is dislike post path. And I believe that's it. So let's go back to that, refresh, /post/like. Oh, okay. So let's say link to like and also link to dislike. Save, refresh, add commas. There we go. Okay, so now we can like and dislike, but let's add the like count to see if this actually works. So let's add a p tag, and what I will do is, let's just do 2 of them for now. Let's do get or at post dot get underscore upvotes dot size. And then let's do the same for get downvotes. And let's also say likes, and we'll do the same for dislikes. All right, so 0 likes, 0 dislikes. Let's like it. All right, so 1 like. Let's try dislike it. 1 dislike. You can see the numbers do change, so that's working great. All right, so next I want to show the like count inside of our index. So to do that, let's go to Sublime and let's open up the index.html. And just like this, let's do p tag, drop to the next line, post dot get underscore likes dot size. Refresh. Whoops, let's go to localhost. All right, so 0 likes, 0 likes, 0 likes. Let's try to like one and make sure it works. Now let's go to, cool, so 1 like, 2 comments, beautiful, so that's working good. Obviously, we want to clean up everything, the structure of the HTML, and add some CSS to make it look pretty good. But we will do that next. So let's, for now, do a get status, get add dot, get s, all right, get commit dash am, add and set up voting. So the next thing I want to do is go through and add some structure and styling. And then also I want to add a random post to our post show page. But for now, let's add some structure and styling. So the first thing I want to do is go to, let's close out of all of these. Let's go to our layouts, application.html.erb. Let's rename that to a .haml extension. All right, and then let's change the syntax highlighting to Ruby Haml. Then let's tweak the setup a bit. HTML, head, and then let's add a title. This is Muse. And then let's see, let's add the JavaScript link tag, all of these, paste those in. Let's remove the opening, closing tags. All right, so now that's good. Let's, I know Haml's going to complain about the indentation, so let's fix that by backspacing and hitting enter. Then below here, let's add a body tag, and below that, let's do p tag dot notice equals notice, and then another p tag dot alert, and the alert, and then also the yield. And that should be good. Let's save that, go back and refresh. All right, so that's good. Next thing we need to do, I'm just gonna copy and paste these two guys in, 2 lines. So what this is I am linking to style sheet, the normalize.css and the font awesome.css for our icons. So I'm going to save that, and you can already go back, refresh, and you can see it removes the margin. This is what normalize does. It removes the margin, changes the fonts a bit. So basically it resets every browser to start at a consistent starting point, because all browsers do things a little bit differently. So normalize makes it all consistent to start. All right, so let's start adding some structure. So I want to add a header. So let's add a header, and then below here, let's add a wrapper and a clearfix class. Then I'm going to add a logo, and it's going to link to Muse. It's going to be the title of our application, and it's going to go the root path. Then let's add a nav, and below here, whoops, nav. All right, then below here, we're going to do some Ruby code if user signed in. Let's add a link to, we're going to do the current user.name. And we are going to go to the edit user registration path. So this will be their account settings pretty much. And then we're also going to link to the add new inspiration. It's going to be the title. And then let's go to the new post path. Then let's add a class of button. Then else have that over. Let's add a link to sign up and sign in. So link to sign in. Then we're going to go to the new user session path. And then another link to sign up. And then new registration, new user registration path. And then again, let's add a class of button for this one. So let's save that, go back and refresh. Cool, so our logo is showing up, that's good. The links are working correctly. Beautiful. So I'm going to, let's commit what we just did. Git s, git add dot, git, all right, git commit with the message, convert application layout to HAML and added header. All right, so next let's add some styles. I'm just gonna paste some styling in. Let's go to our assets, style sheets, and our application.css. Let's rename that to .scss. And then I'm just gonna copy all that and paste in my styling. So what I'm doing is I removed the require self.tree because I want to import the styles in a very specific manner. And then right here, this is all just the generic stuff that will go on each page. Then below here, we're importing home.css.scss, which we still need to create, and post.css.scss, which is right here. So let's save that. Comments, I'm going to delete that. Then let's add a new file. Save this as home.css.scss. Then for the home, what we want to do is paste in these styles. So we have a little intro section, which we haven't added just yet. And then this is for all of the posts to make it 3-column and look a little bit nicer. Then the actual post.css, this is all for the post show page. So we add some different structure to it and float them to the left and make it look pretty nice. And then the comments. So if you are interested in the SCSS, just go to the GitHub page. It's in the description below, and you can go through and see what does what. So now that that is done, you can already go back, refresh. Syntax error. File, post.css. Oh, duh. Okay. So this is posts, plural, and this is post. So let's save that, refresh. There we go. Okay, so now that is good. So let's add some structure to our files. So first thing I want to do is go back to the application.html.haml. Let's add a .wrapper around the yield. Save that, refresh. All right, that brings everything in. Then let's clean up the index page. So let's go to index.html.haml. All right, so let's first add that intro section I was talking about. So let's do if user signed in. We are going to do p intro. So p and then the ID of intro. And then we're going to do hello. And then we're going to spit out current user.name. And then let's add a BR tag. And let's add a span. And then below the span, let's say share your inspiration and see what's inspiring others. Period. Save that. Now if we go back, refresh, since we are signed in, it says, hello, Mackenzie, share your inspiration or see what is inspiring others. Now, if we're not signed in, let's add the else. Let's do p intro. Let's say, what's your muse? Question mark, and then let's add a BR tag, another span. And then below that span, let's add the same line, share your inspiration. All right, so now let's go back. Let's copy this and go incognito, paste that in. All right, so now, since we're not signed in, it says, what's your muse? Share your inspiration, see what's inspiring others. Cool. So now let's take care of the posts. So for each post, we want to wrap it in a post div, and then let's loop through all the posts. And then for each post, let's do a class of .post, and then let's wrap the image around a post image div, tab that in, and then below here, let's do post content. And then the h2 is going to have a class of .title. Well, let's tab in the h2, and then we want to do data and a clearfix class. And then below here, we're going to do p.username. And let's do shared by post.user.name. Okay, and then let's add another one, p.buttons. And then we'll say, we're going to add 2 spans. And this is where we are going to use the Font Awesome icons. So let's do an I tag with the class of .fa for Font Awesome and fa-comments-o. And then we're going to print out the post.comments.count. And then we're going to backspace to another span. And then I'm just going to copy these and paste it below. And then instead of fa comments, we're going to do fa thumbs-o-up, and then post.getlikes.size. And then let's remove the rest of that, save it, refresh. So now you can see it shows up in 3 columns, and then the next one would break down to the next line. Let me show you. So let's choose a file, say Star Wars, say awesome Star Wars digital painting. I'm not sure who this was by. I'm just going to stub out the link, and then I'm going to copy some hipster ipsum, paste that in, create post. So now let's go. You can see everything is structured very nicely, and it's all based on percentages, so it scales as you grow the viewport. I didn't add any responsive stuff to this, so obviously this does not look good. You'd want to tweak that, but at desktop size, it looks pretty nice. So what I'm going to do is next, so this is pretty good. The icons are showing up, everything's good. So let's take care of the show page. So let's go to show.html.haml. All right, so this one, there's a bit much to do. Let's do post show, and then h1, let's do @post.title, and then we are going to do p.username and say shared by @post.user.name, and then we're going to do about and print out time ago in words, then @post.created@. So let's save that, go back and refresh. Cool, so the title is showing up. Let's make that full screen again. Title showing up, shared by Mackenzie about 1 minute ago. Then below here, we need to add a class of clearfix. And then inside that clearfix, we're going to do post image description. And then below here, we're going to do the image tag. I'll just tab that in. And then we're going to do .description. And I'm going to do simple format @post.description. So So save that, refresh. So you can see there's a little bit of border radius. It goes full width, and then it adds the description to us. So this is the same as before, but since we added the simple format, it treats line breaks as a new line. So it wraps each of these in a separate p tag, which is how it should be. So make sure to add that. So next we want to do post.data. So post data, and then let's add a link to, let's say visit link, and then at post.link, and we're going to add a class of button. So let's save that. If you refresh, you see visit links shows up. Beautiful. Then let's add a link to like post path, and then at post. Then we're going to do a method of delete, or method of get, I'm sorry, and then a class of data. And we're going to make this a block, and that is because inside the block we're going to use itag.fa.fa thumbs-o-up, and then we are going to do pluralize at post.get upvotes.size, and then comma like. So if we save that, 0 likes. Okay, so this also acts as the like. So if I click on that, it will like it and update the like count for us. So let's do the same for the downvote. Let's paste that in, or copy and paste it. So I'm going to do dislike post path at post, same class, except here I'm going to do, instead of thumbs up, we're going to do thumbs down, and then get downvotes.size. And then we're going to change this to dislike. Save that, refresh, 0 dislikes. Cool, so that's all working good. Now let's add a p class with the class of data. And then below here, let's add the comment count. So i.fa.fa comments-o, and then we want to pluralize at post.comments.count comment. Save that. All right, so the comments are showing up. So next we want to add some Ruby if at post dot user equals current user. So this is pretty much saying if the user who is signed in right now is the author of this post, we're going to link to the edit and the delete. Link to edit and edit post path at post. Then we're going to add a class of data. Oops. And then another one, link to delete, and then post path at post method of delete, and then we're going to do data confirm, are you sure? Are you sure? All right, so let's save that, refresh, edit and delete are showing up. Let's also add a class of data to make that match the others. So let's refresh. All right, this all looks pretty good. Let's remove this excess stuff. So I'm going to remove all of this except for the comments. All right, then for the comments, this is actually styled. Oh, you know what? So this is showing up, or not showing up, because this should be comments. So now if I save that, it's all styled nicely. And then let's remove these since they are inside of the sidebar. So let's save, refresh. All right, so now everything's looking pretty good. So we styled the index and the show page. Obviously, like I said in the beginning, I did not get to style the forms, but you can definitely go through and style those if you want. So let's do a few last things. First off, let's commit what we've done. Git status. All right, git add dot git s. All right, git commit with the message added structure and styling. So that's good to go. So if you notice, when we click here, it does that little flash before. That is because of the Rails turbo links. I personally still need to look a little bit more into it to figure out why that happens. The turbo links are used to make your Rails application faster, but there's probably some pre-compiling issue that I need to figure out. But I'm just gonna, for now, remove that so we don't get that flash when we jump pages. So let's go to the application.html.yaml and remove the data turbo links true lines from the JavaScript and the style sheet link. Save that. Then let's also remove it from the application.js required turbo link. All right, save that. Then let's also go to our gem file, and there's the turbo links gem, remove that. And let's go back and do bundle. Now if we refresh, we shouldn't get that flash. You can see the page obviously loads, but before it was loading like without any styling. And then it's like, oh no, now I need to render all the styles. So it was just like a little bit of lag behind. So removing the turbo links takes care of that. So that's good. So let's commit that. Git s git add dot. Oh, I didn't need to do that. Git commit -am. Remove turbo links. Alrighty guys, the one last thing I want to do before we are finished is I want to add a random post to our show page. And that is because I want users to be able to see it and then click on it and just encourage click-throughs on our site. So let's close out of everything but the show page. All right, so what we are gonna do is below the posted data, I believe that's the right line, let's add a random post div. Then below here, let's add an h3 class, say random inspiration. Then let's do .post image. Then we are gonna link to image tag. Then we're going to do @random post .image. Whoops, should be inside here. .image.url. Let's grab the medium image. Actually, this should be the small image. Then we are going to go to the post path @random post. Then below here, let's go back to post content div and then .title, and then let's do an h2 with a link to @random post .title, and then we're going to go to the post path @random post. Then let's do another data.clearfix and then p.username, and let's do shared by equals @random post .user.name, and then let's go back, let's do a p tag of .buttons, and then let's do a span. Then inside the span we're going to do the same as the index, so I'm just going to actually copy these right here. Oops, let's paste that in, and then this should be tabbed over like so. So this is definitely going to throw up an error because it does not know we have not defined the random post. So let's do that. Let's go to our post controller. And inside of the show, we need to define what the random post is. So this took me forever the other night to figure out what or how to get this to work correctly. So there's a way to generate a random post, but we don't want the random post to be the same as the current post that we are in. So I figured it out by doing @random post equals post.where.not. The .not is the big thing. The ID of @post.order, .order, and then we're going to do random, all caps, .first. So what this does is it finds the post ID and makes sure the post that we are finding is not the same as the current post, and then it orders them and it finds a random post and it grabs the first one. So let's save that, go back and refresh. All right, so undefined method. Oh, okay. Since we copy and pasted that, this needs to be @random post. Copy that and change it here as well, paste it. There we go. So now we have our post, and for each page load, we have a random post so people can click around. But for each post, it never matches the current post. So this is pretty good. Obviously, there's a few things more we need to do. For example, we still need to style our forms, and if you'd want, you can add categories to this as well. That'd be good so users can search for it. But for now, I think we are done. So let's do one last commit. Do git commit with the message, add random post to post show. Alrighty guys, with that we are all finished building Muse. Just because this is the end of my 12 and 12 challenge does not mean I'm going to stop creating tutorials. So if you want to follow along for more, subscribe below or sign up for my newsletter on my website at mckinseychild.me. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, hit me up on Twitter. It's @mckinseychild. All right, see you guys soon.